Hello viewers, this is your host Sushil and I welcome you to my YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel Sushil Shalot presents the video on Vlookup. Well, viewers, you may be wondering that already the Vlookup video has been published by me, and then what is that I'm going to demonstrate or convey to you in this video? Well, it's not exactly VLOOKUP what I'm going to convey, it is this VLOOKUP that I'm going to convey. So as the name you can see, it is rightward left, that is VLOOKUP name was presented to you, and here we are on to Excel worksheet. Just within a couple of minutes or seconds, let us walk through the fundamentals of VLOOKUP. As we already know, the value of lookup should always be in the first column in the range or array of a table or an database. This is what we learned during the VLOOKUP video, and this is the fundamental we'll never forget. So the VLOOKUP value or the lookup value has to be always in the leftmost column. Well, and last thing what we read in this or we learned in that video was VLOOKUP can be substituted by more result oriented index and match function combination, that is nesting of index and match does wonder, which VLOOKUP failed to deliver. Well, with these two statements, can we think that can there be a way in between these two? Yes, friends, there is. And what is that? Let us learn. First, let us go on to the logic of it. So now, as we learned, from left to right is what VLOOKUP works. So if we see that our solar system sun is seen on the left side in this picture and Neptune farthest, the farthest one is seen on the right. Well, can we not change it? Yes, we can, certainly. How do we do that? We can just flip the orientation of our vision and our view, and there it is. We see the Neptune, the farthest planet, on the left side, and Sun on the rightmost side. Something like this should be done so that the VLOOKUP runs or works the other way around. How can we do that? Certainly, we'll learn it. But before that, let me give you a demo or explanation about a function called choose in Excel. What does this function do? Let me explain you with an example here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this function, choose, and once I have selected it, what does it require is the index number. Now this index number can be any number between 1 to 254. It can be series from 1 up to 254 also. So now I'm going to index this with the array. So how do array start with? It is with this brace bracket, and the number starts from, I would say, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 5 6 and 7. With this, I'm going to close the brace bracket, and what next I'm going to put in here is the value 1 to value last. Now, if at all I choose to give an array here from the first B3 cell to B9 cell, I'm sure it will return a error. The reason being that it will not understand as to what is 1 and what is 2. But well, it's not true. Well, what does the choose value do or the choose function do here is it chooses the value 1 as first value in the array B3 to B9. That is, number 1 is Monday. So B3 corresponds to the array value or the index number 1, and so on and so forth. If I go on pulling this function down or the formula down, there it is. It gives or returns the value of the weekdays 1 to 7 in series. Now, if at all I want to choose a value, say I'm going to choose the value, say I want to choose, for example, the fifth day of the week. Then what can I do? I can choose number 5 and then choose the values from this array. When I close the bracket and say enter, it gives the error value because here it does not understand what is number 5 from this B3 to B9. So how do I do that? It can be done in this way. So now instead of giving B3 and directly B9, I can choose the value as B3, then B4, then so on and so forth. Here I am. Once done, I can say enter, and there it is. It returns the value Friday. So friends, this is the difference between the two. When I choose an array, it should have a proper reference. When I choose a number, then it should have the proper values. Keep this in your mind for the choose function. Now, let us go on to the next worksheet and understand what this choose function has to do with the VLOOKUP. Friends, let me give a more detailed idea about this. When VLOOKUP is used in collaboration or in nesting with choose function, it delivers the desired result. That is, the lookup value can be on the right side of the search value that can be on the left side. Fine. Let us get on to this example. This is the same database what we used or we referred to during our video in Vlookup, wherein the employee number up to the experience columns are jotted here in the database. Based on the ratings and initial salary, the new salary has to be defined. So now in this case, the column numbers were very much here mentioned. I'm just typing the numbers on top of this column so that it becomes easy for us to understand. Now friends, if at all I convert the reference and I convert the sixth column to the first one and the first to the sixth one, how nice it will be, isn't it? Let me do that. I'll give a demo here how it can be done by using the choose function. Here it is. So I have chosen this column numbers are here. I have given the numbers in the first cell here or in the row number 2 here. I already used the command here choose. So from choose, what I have done is in this first column, that is column J, now I have chosen the array from 6 to 1, that is inverse array or inverse index number. And with this index number, as we saw in our earlier part of this video, how the column arrays are chosen and the corresponding column arrays are given that column number. So basically what happens with this choose command, what you see on your screen here is very easy. I'll give you the demo here. So in this choose command, what happens here is this sixth number array corresponds to B2 to B23 cells in the column B, and that's why it turns out to be the sixth column as a result, and say on and so forth. It happens with the next one. So if I go with the fifth one, this is the fifth one, that is C2 to C23, it becomes a fifth, and so on and so forth. With the fourth one, it goes on ahead with the fourth one. Let me check. Okay, the fourth one is nothing else but D2 to D23. Third one is E2 to E23, and so on and so forth. Fine friends, so let's get on to this, how it can be done or how it can be propagated. So now if you see, if I go to column number or column K, here the initial salary. Now what I have done here is I have chosen the index number from 5 to 1, and correspondingly I have chosen the columns. So now the second column, that is column C, will, or rather column F, that is fifth column, will get converted into the second column in the reversed array. So that is how I have done it. So now if I decide to copy down this or to propagate this function or this formula downwards in the further cells, there it is. I see all the column G gets replicated into column J. In other words, now the context has changed. The column number 6 has got converted into column number 1, and so on and so forth. I'm going to convert the remaining columns accordingly and change their context numbers. So there it is. Now I see very sure that the sixth column, that is column G in the earlier database, turns out to be column number 1 here in database number 2. Good. So I hope you understood what I have done with the logic what I showed you earlier, and with the use of choose command what I can do or anyone can do by using the choose command in the right way. So in this way, I have chosen to invert the column references. So now my column number 1 has become experience and my column number 6 has become employee ID. With this, now I'm going to choose out the values as to how I can use this function in nesting with VLOOKUP to form a requisite result oriented value. Well, let me go ahead and do that now. So now how I'm going to do it here is I will go to this cell and say is equal to VLOOKUP. With VLOOKUP, what do I need to look up is the value here. What I'm going to look up is say value G4. That is what I'm going to look up. And what do I'm going to look up with is the array, the table array. So now how I'm going to choose it or how I'm going to define it is here. I'm going to say choose. In this, I'm going to put up the array, say 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that is the array I have defined, and I'm going to choose this array one by one from B2 to B3. Oh, sorry. I'm going to choose it from left to right, from B2 onwards to B23, and so on and so forth. I won't spend much time on locking these cells right now. It is always preferred to lock the cells, but well, I won't be doing right now. So I'm choosing these values, and as an well As I'm progressing, I'm basically converting by using this choose function the columns left to right into right to left, right? So now I'm choosing a value G4 which is on the rightmost column in the given database, and I'm going to return the value. Now I wish to see the value of the email. So email will appear now in the fourth column in the reversed database. So I'll say 4. So I'll return the value from the column number 4 in the array. You already know how to count the array columns, and if not, well, you can see in the second database column M corresponds to the email column, and that is column number 4 in the database. For the exact match, I can give false or 0. I opt to give 0, and I close the parenthesis here and I say enter. As soon as I do that, I see the value of the email ID has popped up into the cell D25 here, and this has been done with VLOOKUP in conjunction with the value of choosing the reverse way of columns or column referencing. This way, one can use VLOOKUP in conjunction or in nesting with choose function in Excel to find a value of a lookup value on the rightmost column in an array or a table which has got n number of columns on the left side of that lookup value. Well, I hope you are clear with how to apply the choose function with the VLOOKUP nesting. Well, you must be wondering that all the time in my VLOOKUP video I have been telling that I have been advising and I have been propagating to use the table rather than the array. The reason being that table has got two advantages. The functions get propagated directly into the result oriented column from top to bottom, and any new value added or appended or modified in the table gets reflected directly into the result cell. There are two advantages. Well, just telling you won't make a much difference. I will request you to go and look up the or have a view at the watch the video of the VLOOKUP that I had presented to you all. Now here what I have done is, now this column number B has been 1 and column number F has been the fifth column in the database. Well, in choose by using choose function I can change the orientation from right to left as 1 to 5 as I've highlighted right now. So in this what we see is D column has got the gender, then E has got a common increment, that is increment that anyone and everyone will get, and the initial salary has been listed in column F. Now the rule from the management has been that if the candidate or the employee is female, then 25% extra salary will be paid to the female candidate. Well, for everyone knows that revised salary is nothing else but initial salary plus increment. But here increment is little different for the female candidates. So let's do a VLOOKUP and find out how we can find out the values of the revised salary. Let's say is equal to, now this is nothing else but the sum of what, sum of initial salary plus, now there is a condition here, if it is a female candidate then the increment value is 25% more. So the if function comes into the picture. So now if the logical value, now what is the logical value, the cell D3, if it happens to be F, that is female, then the value will be, the logical true value will be we look up. Now what to look up, the first value will be F3. If this is the case, then choose. Now choose what? Choose the array from left to right. That is, I'm going to click here and say cell or the value for index numbering will be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And with this orientation, now I'm reversing the column index or the column number. How does it matter is, I'm going to choose the employee ID here and I'm going to lock it. So now this is how one can do it. Value 1 will be B2 to B23, function F4, that is locking it, and so on and so forth. I'll go on choosing one by one column range and keep on locking it. It may take a little value and little boring at this time while you are watching this on screen, but well, when you are doing it, do it very carefully. A small mistake in this will lead to the failure of the functions. So please concentrate on choosing the correct range and correct values. Once this is done, I'm going to lock it, and this is how the choice has been done. Now what do it returns? It returns into 1.25. So whatever is the value that will pop up here, and how do I use it? Let me check it and do it for you immediately. So once this is done, 1.25 times will be the value. If this is a true value and if it is false, then what? Then it turns out to be only the VLOOKUP value. That is, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose this value and put up here in the VLOOKUP. So this value will be choose this. So there it is. Once it is chosen, now what should it return? It should return only the second column, that is the column from right, that is the fundamental value, and then I'll say comma 0. So here it won't be only choose, it will be VLOOKUP again. So this will be comma VLOOKUP, and here again in this VLOOKUP it is going to choose the value as F3 comma, and then it will return the value. Fantastic. So this is how it will be. Once done, I'm going to close the parenthesis. As and when it is done, I say enter. It says there is some error in the parenthesis, and there it is. So now there is a mistake here somewhere in the formula, and that's why it says not applicable. Let us choose, or let us check what it is. So what is that? Let us go over here and have a look at his. So basically I lost or I missed out putting this value here, 2 and 0. That's why it gave error. So I'm going to put that value here, comma 2 comma 0, and once done I'll close the parenthesis here, and there it is. Still it is not applicable. There it is. So after I shifted the values of 2 and 0, that is, I will explain the logic. So how it works here is it is going to sum F3, that is the initial salary here. I'll double click it, so it gives the value here F3. The next thing is, if at all the cell D3 is equal to F, that is feminine, that is female gender, then we look up for F3. So it is going to choose the rightmost cell or lookup value, and with the choose function, after inverting the orientation of the columns from right to left, I have to left to right. Now I have chosen the columns to be selected from 5 to 1, and so it will search for the value of 22,500 for this employee in this range, and if at all it is true, then it will return the value from the second row, that is cell E3, that is column number 2. E becomes column number 2 after choose function is used, and from that the 500 value will be here. So 500 into 1.25, that is 25% extra. This will be true value in the if function, and if at all the value turns out to be false, that means if D3 is not equal to female, if it is M, that is male, then the VLOOKUP value will be the second cell or the second row value corresponding to the F3 value here. So it will look for F3 again, and the second value or the second cell or second column will be returned, and that will be only 500. So in this case it is female F. So basically it is nothing else but the increment turns out to be 500 into 1.25. So there it is, 625 plus 22,500 is equal to 20,125. So the answer is correct. And so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull out on this value over here, and there it is. As soon as I do it, I get the revised values of all the employees within a split of a second. So friends, don't be very much scared or very much worried about this, because the values of the functions what you are seeing on screen here is too big for you to understand it in the first go, but as and when you practice it, it is nothing great. And subsequently I'm going to create a video or publish a video on a function called as lambda, wherein the length of this function or this formula or this array of all the words and numericals will be reduced to a very small length characters. Well, I hope you have understood the fundamentals here. If the fundamentals are clear, the application is secondary and very easy to do. Well, with this uh, explanation of how to apply VLOOKUP in nesting with choose, if, and some functions. So here basically we have used four functions from Excel to find out the revised value of the employee salary here. Good. Now let us go to the next part of this video. I hope you have been very much in line with what I have been explaining you all this time. Now what I am going to show here is in this cell, initial salary and corresponding name. So now if you see the initial salary here appears to be or appears in the rightmost column of this array, and using that value I'm going to opt or I'm going to find out the corresponding name here. So how do I do that? Well, here I have applied the data validation. If required, I'll explain you in short. If I go here and say data mesh, I'll first clear the existing data validation here, and then I'll go and choose list. So the list will be nothing else but the initial salary. I'm choosing the value of initial salary here and saying enter and say OK. So once done, in this drop down, I'll keep on seeing the initial values of this salaries, and as and when I choose a salary from this drop down, on the left side column here or left side cell here, you see the employee name appearing here. So how is it? How does the employee name appear here? So I have used the VLOOKUP here in conjunction in nesting with the choose function, and let me give you a demo here as to how I can do that or how one can opt to choose or use the nesting of these two functions together. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say is equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP what? I'm going to VLOOKUP the value here in this cell from where I do need to find out these things is the region for me to choose from. So now I want to search this lookup value from the left side columns in this database. So I'm going to use the function choose. Now you are very much conversant with it, how to choose the cells and how to index the values. So there it is. I'm going to index it. I'm going to index as done earlier from 5 onwards. I'll go and I'll choose the index array. Once done, I'm going to choose the values. You already know how the values are to be chosen. There it is. I won't be spending much time, a little faster here because it's already explained to you how to choose these values. And once these values are done, when the choice is done, I'm going to close this parenthesis. Now next thing what it asks or VLOOKUP requires is a column index for which the value is to be returned. Now as you see from right to the left, if I number the columns, it turns out to be column number 4 for the names of the employees. So I'm going to say fourth column is what I want to return. The value from the fourth column corresponding to the value in the D26 cell will be returned, and either I choose here true or false. If one requires the approximate value, one should be chosen or true should be chosen. If one requires exact value, 0 or false should be chosen. I'm going to choose 0 here and close the parenthesis and say enter. As soon as I do that, now I see the value of Rajni Singh appearing here. So against the D6 value, this is what I see, or D26 value, this is what I see. If I choose some other value from here. So I choose this value. The corresponding name Sohan Patni appears here. Let me check 21937. 21937 correspond to Sohan Patni. So if at all I wish to find out the employee number of this person, then I can change the column reference here from 4 to 5 and say enter. There it is. I see the employee number appearing here. Now, how to convert this into table? This I have already explained you. It's not a big deal. So I go here to the insert cell, insert tab. Anywhere on the tab I click, I already clicked on the employee ID here, and there I say table. It says create table with this range. It has chosen the correct range. Excel is very smart in this case. My table has got headers. So now here it is going to choose the headers as 54321. If I don't want that, I have choice to choose from B2 onwards over here. So I'm going to choose B2 onwards, and as soon as I say OK, there it is. The table has been created here. So I have opted to keep out the column numbers outside the table, and there it is. So as soon as I choose here to have the table in this case, so now this formula of course will be appended or should be appended with this. So if at all there is a new entry here, say E2525, say the name is Sheila, suppose she is a female, her increment value is 500 like all others, and her initial salary is say 20,000, and there it is. As soon as I do that, the table gets appended here. Now friends, while choosing this formula, I have not chosen the formula with the table, and so it did not get appended. In case if at all I decide to give the sum value here with this table, if I say sum and choose this value, so what will this choose? Initial salary will be here. With this initial salary, I'll have to put in if cell C3 is equal to F, then what should it return? The true value should be VLOOKUP, there it is. In this VLOOKUP, I'll have to choose the value that is F25, comma, choose. So I'm going to choose this index array here again. So from 5 onwards, it will go ahead, and there it is. With this array, I'm going to choose the values. This is a repeated work, I am sure, a little boring for every one of us, but well, if we do anything wrong in this, it won't be of much use. So let us choose this properly, and once this array is done, I'm going to close the here. What do I need to return is the value from the second column, so I'm going to put 2, and I want false, so that is 0, that is exact value. I'm going to close the parenthesis, and if it is female, then it has to be 1.25 times, so I'm going to multiply this by 1.25, and if this is not true, then again the VLOOKUP will be as it is, and here the value will be only up to this. I'm going to just copy and paste it again so that it saves our time here, and once done, I'm going to close the parenthesis and say enter. There is some error in typing this formula. I am sure that there is something small silly mistake that I have done here, so it may take time for me to find out the values. So there it is, the formula is in place now. So if you see there, the sum is all what is you are seeing on the screen. So now here I have appended this formula with the table, and if you see, it appears to be more complex, but well, it is much easier to use when table is used. So now if there is some additional value here, say 2654, say KK, and she is a female, and then her basic will be 500, and the next one is say 15,000, and as soon as I say enter, there it is, the formula here will get appended by itself when it is in a table. Now here it did not happen, so because my initial formula here was very much created with the array and not with the table, and the table was created later. So basically I'll suggest you all to create the table first, then write the formula. While writing the formula, write it with a cool mind without any mistakes. Don't do the same way what I did some time back. I had missed out the comma here before this 2, and that's why it was giving me the pain, and I rectified it, and there it is, the formula now works very well. So use the table always when you're using commands or functions like VLOOKUP. Here we have seen how choose can be used for readjusting or adjusting the values here, and that is how it's to be done. Well, if I give the revised salary value here in this table, and if the table gets appended here, and if I put in the formula, it will become very easy for anyone to keep in or chip in the values in here. If you wish, I'll give you a demo here. So there it is, the formula is there. I have written is appended it in the first cell, in cell number the G3, and there it is, it says some parenthesis missing. I'm just closing the parenthesis, say enter. There it is, and as soon as I did enter in the first cell, you saw the complete formula got appended to the complete table row G, and there it is. This is the benefit of having a table. If at all I decide to add some new entry into this, say E2345, say LLL, that is the name of this, or say MMM, say this is the name of this lady, and that is what she is going to get as an increment. As soon as I say tap here, it gives the value of revised value is seen to be 625. There it is. The reason being that in table immediately it appended the revised salary as 25% more of the common increment, and if at all I choose, or if her salary had to be 10,000 and I say enter, there it is, the value of the revised salary immediately popped up. So this is the benefit of table, and this is what I was trying to explain you. So friends, let's get on to the summary. As we saw, with the logic of orienting from left to right, that is the utmost requirement of VLOOKUP. By nesting VLOOKUP with the choose function, we can change up the lookup value, that is to be right to the left. The search can be done from right to left, and therefore it can be called as reverse VLOOKUP. I hope you have liked this video. This has been informative, though a little confusing at the beginning. If you watch this video for a couple of times and practice this in your applications, it will be quite easy for you to apply. Well, with this we come to the closure of this video, and now if we choose to close this video at this note, I would like you to express your likes at the YouTube channel. Certainly, while doing that, do not forget to share this video with all those who require to acquire this knowledge, to comment on this video at the YouTube channel, and not last but not least, do subscribe this channel for many more informative and useful videos at the channel page. Well, in case if you have any other requirements which I can fulfill through publishing my videos, please do let me know at your comments at the YouTube channel. I'll be back with my new video soon. Till then, goodbye, take care.